Good afternoon, everybody. Um, Obviously, getting ready here on a very short week. I haven't played the game on Saturday, and gosh, it's 3 days away. We play the game, which is hard to believe, but um, we're just really working very hard as a staff to try to put together a game plan. That's got its challenges in a short week, and also to get our team to recover physically and be ready. That's challenging on the players. A game is very taxing. Um, it physically takes its toll on players, just the collisions, and you can't simulate that in practice. So there's a physical game on Saturday, and so now we prepare for Temple, which we know is going to be a very physical contest. They got a great culture there around playing tough and playing physical, and so we're going to have to get ourselves prepared and hopefully be recovered and as fresh as we can be, as I said, 3 days from now. But I'm proud of our team for the effort on Saturday. Um, just a really complete first half. A little disappointed with some of the things we did in the second half, some of the mistakes we made, and those need to be corrected. So we were able to get on the field last night, and we'll be on the practice field this afternoon and in the next couple of days before we travel to Philadelphia.
Rich, kick us off. Coach, you're 3-0. You've looked good in these 3 games. For a 3-0 team, if you was the head coach, what's your biggest concern heading into that 4th game for this team?
I think that it's important that we be able to flush whatever's happened the week before and try to prepare for the next week and the next game. Temple's got enough players and athletes that they'll completely expose us if we're not prepared and ready to go. What they did on Saturday against Utah State was super impressive. They're athletic and they're fast, and there's a lot of guys on that team as you look that they've played at Power 5 schools and they played in Power 5 stadiums, and they're athletic and they're a good football team and they're well coached. Stan's an outstanding coach. Everett Withers is he's been a head coach several places and a defensive coordinator at many big time schools. I know Adam Shire very well, their special teams coordinator. He's an excellent coach. So they got a well coached football team, and so it's going to be a great challenge for us. And that to me is the challenge each week, is just flushing whatever happened, good, bad, or in between, and try to prepare for the next game. So that's really where we're trying to push our guys to focus, is in a short week that we don't have any time to look at headlines or consider pats on the back. It's time to go.
Jeff, you always say that every team is different, right? Every single team is different. 3 games in, what are some of the words that you would use to describe this squad so far?
Oh, this is a very unselfish group of guys, very team oriented, and I think mentally and physically tough. So I think those are all positives when trying to build a good football team, and that's, I guess, the goal each week is just to try to be the better team on that particular Saturday. And the guys on our team really care about each other, and they care about their performance and work hard in practice. And if they'll continue to do that, we'll at least continue to give ourselves a chance. And that's all we have each week, is a chance, because Saturday we faced some really talented players, and as I said, Mike Bloomgren, I think he's a tremendous football coach, and we played really well in the first half, and that's why we're able to win the game. If we played in the first half like we did in the second, I'm not sure we could have won a football game. So that's the challenge for our guys, and I think our guys respond when they're challenged.
Thanks.
Connor, kick us off on Zoom.
Joe, you can start us off.
Hey, Coach Monken. First couple of games, the term "bend but don't break" has been used to describe the Army defense. How would you evaluate Saturday's performance under that kind of terminology?
I think that's pretty indicative of the way we played. In the second half, we had we had the fake punt that didn't go as planned, and Rice took over with a short field, and they were able to put together a scoring drive on us. We obviously broke on that one and allowed them into the end zone. We did play some other guys as the game went along. The other touchdown drive that they had, we had a lot of the backups in, which it's important for those guys to get in the game. And that unit didn't handle the hurry up offense that Rice threw at us as well as we had hoped. So that's certainly something for all of us to work on, the ones and the twos, and everybody that's got a chance to play. So that there certainly was some good in the first half, and we came up with a turnover, which turned it into a touchdown. We had a blocked kick. They got down there and had a field goal opportunity, and Ello did a great job of finding his way through a gap and getting in front of that one. They certainly were in scoring position. So I guess that's really the kind of the bend don't break. We bent enough to allow them to get down there, but didn't break, and were able to make a play. So as I said, it's hard sometimes to have your back to the wall and be put in that situation, and we've got to do a good job of getting them off the field. But we did. We had the one drive where they had the third and long. There was a penalty, and we forced them into I think it was a 4th and 9. I think it was 3rd and 25, and went to 4th and 9, and we were able to get them off the field. So there were some positives from that regard.
And my follow-up and final question, Coach, is Temple's new quarterback, Simon, has garnered a lot of headlines, threw a ton of touchdown passes, some long ones, a 94-yarder against Utah State last week. What challenges does he present for your defense? And probably what's the best game plan to try and contain his passing game a little bit?
Oh, he did great. He looked great, and as did their entire team. What was really impressive is that they came from behind to do it, and played so well in the second half. And so it's not just the quarterback, and I think he's a good player. Certainly, he showed that on Saturday. But he's got a number of talented, skill players around him. And I looked at their offensive line; they're too deep. There's one player that doesn't weigh 300 pounds, and I mean, all those guys are long and tall. There's a guy that's 6'6", and guys that are 6'4" and 5. That's a big offensive line, and that makes it a challenge because you've got to mount some kind of a pass rush to make him throw it on time, just to throw it on time. But any extra time, and he's, like I said, we can be exposed. They've got really good skill players, and just frankly, we don't match up. Those guys, there's some guys that if you look up their track times that they've posted, they've got skill players that have run 10.3 in a 100-meter dash, 10.5 in a 100-meter dash. I mean, if anybody does that. I mean, Jackson Hammond, he's a sophomore corner. He doesn't start. He's going to be a good player, but we don't have a bunch of guys running around like that. So that presents a challenge, not just the quarterback, but their entire unit.
We'll go to Seth from Black Knight Nation.
Coach, great victory there. How do you keep your team from reading the headlines? They're 3-0 now, and they're kind of the talk of the conference, along with Navy. That they're 3-0. How do you keep them focused on the game at hand?
Well, I'm usually more critical than I am, complimentary, because there are so many things that we can do better. And I think our guys understand who we are. And, it's my job. It's my job to find the things that we can do better and challenge our team to do that. So, our guys they're not reading the headlines, and it's way early in the season, and there's a lot of football left to play, and they're, I mean, they're a veteran group. I'm not concerned about them being overconfident. God, I mean, they know who they are, and I know who they are, and I remind them every day. So, I guess it's just comes with the territory playing at Army.
Thank you, Coach.
We'll go to James with Ace for football.
Hey, Coach. Question for you. So, this is now the third season since the most recent iteration of cut blocking rule changes. It's been about as good as the under center triple option has looked in terms of yards per rush and most major metrics. Do you attribute that mostly to maybe the size of the offensive line? Is it a play calling thing? Why has it looked better this year than it has either in 2022 or at perhaps some other service academies?
We're just executing well right now. I think Cody Worley is doing a great job of game planning and giving our guys things they can handle. There's nothing earth shattering about what we're doing on offense. If you watch us, it's not it's not like we've reinvented football or anything like that. We just do what we do. It's different than what most people do, which presents its own challenges when a team is trying to defend us. Just as I've said many times, it presents a challenge for us when we're trying to defend it. We're obviously going to play the other service academies, which frankly, the three academies are almost identical on offense, just what we do and we try to do. And there's a few things that are different. But really at the heart of it, we're very similar, but we're just very different from everybody else. And so that helps. And as I said, our players are executing well right now. They're blocking and we've had one turnover. That certainly helps us play better on offense, and that helps the football team. If we're going to play complementary football, take some balls away from the other team and don't give any back to them. That's a pretty good formula. So I don't know. We'll see. It's week to week. It's every particular Saturday, and so the first three have been fairly good. They haven't been perfect, but they've been good enough to win. So I'll take that result if we can just be good enough to win every week.
Thanks, Coach. And then you mentioned turnovers on the other side of the ball, the secondary. Depending on how you define a full drive, has caused an interception in something like 1 in every 5 drives. How important has that been to the defensive game plan and defensive strategy?
Turnovers will correlate to victory probably more readily than any other statistic. So if we can win the turnover margin or win the turnover battle, be on the plus side, then I think we're giving ourselves a better chance to win the football game. That certainly doesn't happen in every game. There are some games where a team turns it over more than the other team, but still manage to find a way to win. But for what we do and as few possessions as there are in the games that we play, I think turnovers are magnified. So it's made a big difference for us this year.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll go to Sal with Black Knight Nation.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good, Sal. Thank you.
One question I want to ask you about is the importance of the scout team this week on a short week, and also the acknowledgement of Jarrell Dixon as your scout team player of the week for last week's game, and just what his contribution has been to your team so far.
The scout teams are ultra important every week. The better job that they do of simulating what we're going to see from the other team, the better for our offense, defense, and special teams. So they're critical, and we really try to reward those guys and recognize them on a daily basis. But then certainly picking an outstanding finisher, as we call them, I got that from our rugby coaches here, Matt Sherman. He names, he says there's starters and there's finishers. And so I thought that was a great term, and really that's what those guys are. They help us finish. Jarrell is a terrific young man. Unfortunately, he's not eligible this year because of academics, but just his commitment and dedication to helping this team be the best it can be. He practices as hard and as intently as anybody we have on our team. If we're running a sprint, he's trying to win it. If we're running a play, he's trying to run the ball and make everybody miss. If he has to block, he's trying to give his best effort to help the guys that are trying to defeat that block to be the best they can be. So he's beloved by his teammates, coaches, and he's a great kid. So he was very worthy of that honor last week, and he probably practices like the scout of the week every week.
Thanks so much. Good luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
We'll go to Ken with Cambets.
Hey, good afternoon, Coach. Good to see you. I was very impressed with Stan Drake when he spoke at the AAC Media Day down in Texas before the season. He's got 31 years experience been at Texas, Ohio State, also 2 NFL ops with the Bears and Packers. What do you think he emphasizes in building his team in his 3rd year?
I don't know. I don't know Stan well enough to say really what he's trying to build in terms of culture and build his team, but he's an outstanding coach and got a great reputation in our profession. He's hired a really good staff. As I mentioned, there's a couple guys on that staff that I know and have at least talked to professionally, and so I think probably like everybody else, he's trying to build the best team and program that he can. The challenges in building a program right now in college football they're just so different than they've ever been with the transfer portal and so many players playing at multiple schools and having a new roster every year. But I'm certain his NFL experience is helping him with that and deal with building a roster and roster management and roster replacement. That's what they do in the NFL. And so his experience with that, I'm sure is a benefit to their program. Stan's a really good coach, and he's a great guy, and I'm impressed with him when I hear him too, just like you. And he's got a tough team, that the culture, not just his team, but that program, that institution, that's been built over many years and multiple head coaches of building a tough blue collar attitude type football team. And I think that's who they are. And you see that come out in the way they tackle and the way they block and the aggressiveness with which they play on special teams. So again, it'll be a challenge for us because this is a tough physical football team we're going to face on Thursday night.
And Coach, as Joe mentioned, Evan Simon at quarterback came in against Utah State, and they've been passing 215 yards a game. You mentioned they have a big offensive line. They got a running back, Antoine Littleton. What are the key challenges with that offense? Does it put more pressure on your defensive backfield and your linebackers in coverage?
Anytime a team can be very balanced in what they do, which I think they've shown they're capable of. They've got really good running backs, tough runners, the quarterbacks that played, and the receiving crew that they have. That they are very talented at the skill positions, and with the big offensive line, it forces us defensively to have to be very balanced with our calls and trying to guess, is it going to be a run, is it going to be a pass, trying to defend what is a strength for them when a team is balanced. It makes it particularly challenging, and I think that's what they present.
And just a question on their defense and the Leading tackler TJ Woodbury's got 26. They played Navy, lost 38-11. How much do they learn from playing Navy about handling or trying to go up against an option offense?
Every time a defense has the chance to play against this offense, there's going to be improvements. There'll be lessons learned, and improvements and changes. And they beat Navy a year ago, and so didn't have the success this year in beating them. But the score was kind of flipped. Last year it was a pretty good performance by the Temple defense that allowed them to be able to win that football game. They scored 30+ points on offense a year ago as well. This year it just, for whatever reason, didn't fit it as well and didn't play as well. But schematically and their coaches, they have a good plan. It's a sound plan. And so what they do on a short week, like us, is try to figure out how to take our game plans against them against us, and implement those as quickly as possible, and correct mistakes and make changes as necessary, and hope that our players will go out there and execute the plan and the fundamentals like they've been coached. And that's the bottom line. Players have to go into the game and make plays, and I hope that our guys will play their assignments and play fundamentally sound enough to give ourselves a chance. But again, they're going to be facing guys that are very talented, and that makes it much more challenging.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
We'll go to Ken with the time child record.
Hey, Jeff. You mentioned first thing today about the first half was great, second half not so great. How much of an issue was that with the ones and twos in the second half? And if so, what would you like to see a little better from them?
Well, the opening drive of the second half on offense, we punt team out there. That's when we tried the fake punt. So we didn't take it down the field and score like we had in the first half. The first touchdown after the fake punt by Rice was against our first unit. So that's how we started the second half. They got the ball. We did make them punt on the first drive of the second half, or actually they snapped the ball out of the end zone for the safety, but we made them punt and got the ball back and couldn't score, and then they got the ball and scored immediately. So that's my concern there, is with the guys that had played all the first half, and they just outplayed us right there at the start of the third quarter. Some of it was down the stretch with the backups, with the twos and threes, but they practice every day as well, and our twos get as many reps in practice as our ones, and we do that because our ones they're not going to be in every single down of every single game, and inevitably there's going to be some guys that are starting positions that get hurt, and our backup has to go in there, and our expectations aren't going to drop, so the standard can't drop for the way they play and the way they perform. So we give them as many reps. So when they go in the game, I have the same expectation for them as I do for the guys that started the game. And so there was it wasn't all on the twos and threes. And it's my responsibility to get our guys to come out of the locker room and play in the second half, to start the second half with great intensity and focus, and to compete and to perform, and then for the other guys, when they go in the game, that they go in there with the same intensity and focus and expectations to play up to standard.
Quickly on what you just said, did you feel like the team lost some focus to start the second half, or lost momentum?
No.
Okay.
I don't think our guys lost focus or an edge. Rice has got guys on scholarship too, and they got really good coaches. And they came out and they played better. They played better on defense and stopped us. They played better on offense and moved the ball down the field and made plays. And like I said, it's not like we got a bunch of 5-star guys that got recruited by Texas and Oklahoma out there. We got a bunch of guys that are trying as hard as they possibly can to be the best they can be with the ability that they've been given. And that's no knock on our guys. I'm not saying we're void of talent, but it's not like our roster is, oh my God, more talented than Rice was. Rice has got really good players and talented players, and so they came out and performed and made some plays and blocked and tackled and completed passes and ran the ball and made plays. So that's what happened in the second half. We didn't. The performance standard wasn't as good as it was in the first.
Jeff, you mentioned to us the last two games about how your team's kind of been outsized by the opponents. But it appears to us that they seem to overcome that pretty well. How do you do that? And does that solidify your message to your players that, hey, do things the right way, do things the right way by technique, and you will overcome?
Well, bigger isn't better. Better is better. So we just try to play better and play up to our ability. And when a physically superior team plays really, really well and doesn't make a bunch of mistakes, they're going to be really hard to beat. And so most of the teams that we play are going to be physically superior to us, including the one we're going to play on Thursday night. So if that's the case, then we have to play better. We have to play up to our potential. We can't make silly mistakes. We can't play poorly in terms of our fundamentals. We can't miss assignments, have foolish penalties. Those things will cost us dearly, and we'll get beat. So that's the message to the team, is to try to do the things fundamentally as well as we can.
Jeff, I noticed in the AP poll, no votes for Army this week. Do you think you're getting a little bit of disrespect here?
Why would you vote for Army? I mean, really?
3-0, good start. What?
There's a lot of 3-0 teams out there, and I mean, just look at the teams that you'd have to pass up to vote for us. We're a 3-0 team. There's a lot of 3-0 teams out there. There's 4-0 teams out there that aren't getting votes. There's 3-1 teams that have lost to other teams in the top 25 that aren't getting votes. That's hard to pass them up. I get a vote, so I mean, there's a lot of teams that I think, deserve recognition and respect, and they're the ones getting the votes in the top 25. And you know what? It's not important if we're ranked or get a vote now. That has no bearing on Thursday night for us. So it really doesn't matter. And I could care less. All I want to do is have a great practice this afternoon and hopefully get us closer to playing our very best on Thursday night. If we play our very best on Thursday night and give ourselves a chance to win, then I'll be satisfied.
Last thing, Jeff, this is sort of like an inside baseball question, but with 2 fewer days to prepare, how have you consolidated your prep for a game week like this?
No days off. The NCAA requires 1 calendar day per week as designated as a day off. So last week, our day off was Monday. It starts over on Sunday. So obviously yesterday we were on the practice field, and we'll be out there today, tomorrow, and Wednesday before we travel. Play the game on Thursday. We'll come back and work out on Thursday, and we'll take Saturday off. So that'll be our day off this coming week. And we just, with a short week like this, couldn't afford to just step away for a day. We had to get the preparation in. So never had to do that before since I've been here as the head coach. I've not had to do that as a head coach. We did when I coached for Paul at Tech. We had a short week like this before, but that's quite a few years ago. And so we're just trying to get our guys refreshed, healthy, and along with that, being prepared, taking enough reps in practices that we feel like we're prepared to go out there and execute on Thursday night.
So is it just longer hours for you coaches in the preparation? And secondly, you always don't like to look ahead, but did you prepare for Temple a little bit ahead of this week?
We didn't do anything to prepare for Temple ahead of the Rice game. The sole focus was on Rice. That it doesn't certainly doesn't benefit our players to kind of work on another opponent that's a week away. By practicing against each other, which we do some every day, that allows our offense and defense to have some competition, certainly for our defense to prepare for an option offense. And so throughout the year, we're getting some work defensively against the option. But beyond that, I've never made it a practice of getting out ahead of another opponent. I don't think that sends a very good message to the team. And frankly, we can't afford to do that. Each week, the opponent we face has got to be it's the only game. It's the only one that matters. It's the only one that we get a chance to play that week. So the sole focus was on Temple. Now, in terms of our coaches and the time that they spend, certainly on a short week like this, there's just there's a lot, especially early in the week, yesterday and today, to put a game plan together and to be prepared. But from this point, it's basically Wednesday of the week. We had a Wednesday practice, and tomorrow we'll have our normal Thursday, and Wednesday we'll have our normal Friday, and then we'll go play. So we're going to try to equip our players with all that they need to be able to be at their peak performance physically and mentally, and then hope that they can go and execute. And that's really that's really what's important for us at this juncture.